It is reported the period of the Great Plague, around the middle of the 17th century. The disease spread throughout the region, claiming tens of thousands of lives, devastating entire families and communities wherever it passed. Only rare fortunate individuals escaped a slow and painful end. The population was dominated by fear and distrust, eager to assign blame to something, convinced that the scourge was the work of the devil and his followers. This was the time of the witch hunters, devout servants of God, who prospered through superstition and had state authorization to capture, interrogate, and execute anyone suspected of witchcraft. At the beginning of the story, a young woman named Grace is seen crying inside her house. She looks at her child and then leaves with a sword, at which moment it is revealed that her husband, Joseph, took his own life by hanging himself. Then she begins digging a grave to bury him right there, while a flashback shows that both lived a very happy life. At a certain moment, Joseph leaves to get money, and with part of it, goes to a tavern, where he meets Squire, who asks about his family. When Squire walks away, the man who was drinking next to Joseph collapses and begins to die in suffering, and Joseph realizes that he drank by mistake from his mug. That night, Joseph discovers that he was also infected by the plague, and upon learning this, Grace is shocked. She says that she will go to the forest to get elderberries to prepare a tonic, and before leaving, Joseph declares his love for her. Sometime later, upon returning from the forest, she despairs when she finds Joseph already dead. Days later, Squire appears at Grace's house, saying that he heard rumors that her husband succumbed to the disease. He shows sorrow for the death, but questions how the rent will be paid, warning that the house will be lost if the debt is not settled. Grace comments that his compassion at that difficult moment is touching, to which he replies that it is just business and that he will return, ending the agreement if he does not receive payment. After his departure, Grace becomes distressed when she realizes that she has no savings. And in another flashback, she is seen beside Joseph trying to have a child. Then she says that this time it worked, and shows certainty. When she turns to extinguish the candle, she is startled to see Joseph's decomposing body, but it is only a nightmare. The next day, she goes out looking for work and on the way, meets her friend Kate and her husband Morton. Kate shows joy upon seeing her, while Grace assures that she is not infected. Morton laments Joseph's death, and Kate asks where she is going, receiving the answer that she needs to go to the city. Morton questions the decision, calling it imprudent, but she insists that it is necessary. Kate suggests that she leave Abby under her care to make the trip easier and allow a faster return. Grace leaves, stating that she will return before nightfall. Upon arriving in the city, she is horrified by the state of the place, practically destroyed by the plague, with bodies being devoured by dogs. She goes to the same tavern frequented by Joseph, where she meets Tuttle and introduces herself. He laments her loss and asks her to be direct. Grace requests a small loan, but he replies that he cannot help due to the difficult times. People are frightened, and Molly Pryor had been arrested 2 days earlier under accusation of witchcraft, having confessed everything. He advises her to leave the city while she still can, and before leaving, she asks about what happened on the day of Joseph's visit. He recounts the events, saying he heard from Squire, revealing that that day there was a swapping of mugs. Upon leaving, she sees masked men placing bodies on a cart, and one of the corpses opens its eyes, frightening her and making her quickly return home. Later that night, she is terrified when she sees Joseph's spirit in her house, which instructs her to do what must be done before disappearing. She goes out and follows him, finding the rope leading to his grave. Holding the grave, she pulls the body out and removes the ring from his finger. The next day, Squire returns, and she gives him the ring as rent payment, but he questions about the following months. Grace also gives her own ring and asks if now he is satisfied, to which he replies that there are other forms of payment. Indignant, she demands that he leave, but his intentions prove impure when he tries to force himself on her. She manages to break free and slaps him, but he reacts and tries to hit her. However, she strikes him and grabs a weapon, forcing him to retreat furiously. In a flashback, she tells Joseph that, when she was very young, men came during the Sabbath to take her mother, and her father tried to stop them but could not. Days later, they were taken to Blackthorn Castle to hear the trial, where the witch hunter John Moorcroft forces her to admit the accusations. To protect her daughter, she confesses, and John declares her mother a witch, sentencing her to death. Before the end, she tells Grace to always remain true to herself and not allow others to define who she is. Then her mother is burned alive, and she is forced to witness everything. Aware of this, Joseph says that he still loves her, and that she and the baby are the most valuable things to him, promising to do anything to protect them. He declares that her mother was innocent, to which she replies that it does not matter, because there was a confession, and that makes her a witch. Squire goes to the tavern and spreads the rumor that Grace is a witch, stating that she must be punished. Later that night, while Grace tries to make Abby sleep, she hears strange noises outside. She takes a weapon and goes out to check, but finds no one. However, upon returning, she encounters a masked man who calls her a witch and says that they came for her. She grabs Abby and locks herself in the attic, but they begin to attack her with swords, one of them injuring her hand. Then they set the house on fire and leave, but she manages to escape through the back window. Squire arrives shortly after and says they should have captured her instead of destroying the house, to which a man replies that she would burn anyway, so it makes no difference. At that moment, Morton brings her back and informs that she escaped through the back, and Squire declares that she has been accused of witchcraft and of making a profane pact with the devil. They snatch her daughter from her arms, hand the child to Squire, and take Grace as a prisoner. Upon arriving in the city, it is seen that Molly Pryor was hanged in the public square for witchcraft, and Grace is locked in a cell with other prisoners. Meanwhile, Kate questions Morton about how he could do that to her friend, and he replies that she has no more connection with her because Squire would take everything they have if he discovered any association with that witch. Later, Joseph's spirit appears behind Grace but disappears when she turns, and the cell door opens by itself. Frightened, she leaves and encounters her mother chanting something in another cell. Suddenly, the figure looks at her and advances toward her, causing her to fall, and then she is dragged back, but it is all just a nightmare. After that, she tries to talk to another prisoner named Astrid, whose entire family died because of the disease. Astrid reports that she was beaten repeatedly until she confessed to stealing a chicken and a loaf of bread, as she was starving and had no alternative. She also mentions another prisoner, Reverend Malcolm, saying that he lost his sanity, believing that the disease is the work of the devil and that the end of times has come. Then she says that Grace needs to be strong the next day, because they will try to break her as they did with Molly and others. The next day, she is taken outside to be tortured, and the whole town gathers to mock her. Tied beside Molly's hanged body, she sees Joseph among the crowd, who soon disappears. After that, they begin to wound her back, but she remains firm and does not cry. After some time, when everyone disperses, Squire approaches and says that Molly resisted only 2 days before confessing everything, stating that he can still help her if she allows it. She asks if he also helped Molly or if she was not his type. Squire replies that he knew she would be trouble, so he sent men to bring the witch hunter John, advising her to confess, but she says that he can come. Later, John arrives in the city accompanied by his assistant and stops at the tavern to eat. A man named Watkins recognizes him and calls him a butcher and bastard, to which he replies that he does not recognize him. Watkins says he is just another widower among many that he left behind, saying that his wife was not a witch. John replies that mistakes happen, and Watkins moves to attack him, but John's companion stops him, stating that there is no need for violence, revealing herself as a woman named Ursula. Even so, Watkins tries to kill him, which leads the woman to react and kill him. Later that night, Advin goes to Grace to offer her water, and she says that he knows the reason for her imprisonment. She asks for news of her daughter, but upon hearing someone approaching, he leaves. Then John and Ursula arrive at the prison, where Squire receives them saying that they need his experience in this matter. He asks them to take her to him and orders that they show no mercy, stating that if she falls asleep, they should throw cold water on her. Then he meets her and says she should not fear, because redemption is near. Later, Joseph's spirit returns to visit her, but disappears, and the devil begins to manifest in that place. Overcome with fear, she begins to pray, but the devil rises and growls. The spirit of her mother then appears and advises her to never forget her essence, and at that moment, a guard arrives announcing that the time has come. The next day, John states that the testimonies are consistent, and the evidence is clear, yet she continues to claim her innocence. He stands, approaches, and declares that the devil is deceitful and that it is up to him to reveal the truth. Then he removes the crucifix from her neck, saying that she will no longer need it. Soon after, he orders that she be tied to the torture device and asks Sister Agatha to proceed with the inspection. Sister Agatha tears her clothes and begins the evaluation, and upon noticing a mark on her neck, informs that something has been found. John examines it and declares it an evident sign of the devil, asking if the bite of the beast hurts when she lies with it, but she remains silent. Then she is thrown back into her cell, and Advin brings extra bread and cheese, and before leaving, asks her not to give up. Later, the devil appears disguised as Joseph and tries to seduce Grace, but suddenly she is terrified upon seeing him in his true form. He says that he does not want the body, but only her soul, and then cuts her throat. However, she is awakened with cold water being thrown over her. The next day, Advin informs that her daughter is safe under Squire's care in the South Tower, and that a nurse has been called to assist her. Later, Grace is again placed in John's torture device, and he declares that he ordered Joseph's body to be exhumed, finding a rope tightened around his neck. He says that he did not know her husband, but heard that he was a kind and devout man, which leads him to question why someone like that would commit the mortal sin of taking his own life, unless influenced by the witch he married, or by the devil himself. Then he orders that she be laid down and instructs Ursula to begin the ordeal. After some time, it is seen that her body was pierced in several points, and John orders that she be taken away. While she is being led back to the cell, Advin asks that she just give them what they want, to which she replies that she will not, because she will be killed anyway. Then she notices a sick prisoner and declares that she believes there is only one way left now. Meanwhile, John asks Ursula what troubles her, and she replies that Grace shows courage. He stands and instructs her to never doubt the importance of her mission, no matter how difficult or painful it may be, and to always remember what Grace represents. He recalls the day when the rain fell, a deluge from the sky, when he pulled her from the ashes, purified from evil, awakening within her a new determination to enlighten those who strayed into darkness. Meanwhile, Grace has a vision in which she becomes intimate with the devil. At that moment, Joseph's spirit appears, but she says that it is not him. He asks if she does not recognize her own husband, to which she replies that the devil has many faces and that it is only a dream. Joseph says that she is awake, then transforms into the devil and declares that he will not be rejected, but again it is only a vision. Later, her mother's spirit appears, and Grace asks forgiveness for having accused and reproached her. She says that she should not fear, because the Lord forgives, and then Grace realizes that it is not her mother, but Ursula. She stands and asks what she wants, to which Ursula replies that she does not intend to harm and offers her an apple. Then she asks her to reveal what the devil tells her during the night. She says that she understands it, because she also often spoke with him. She also gave in to temptation and carried out a profane union with the devil, but John showed her the path of truth. She asks her to allow her to help, and that together they can end this suffering. Grace asks her mother if she should give them what they want, to which she replies that she has fought enough and that now she can free herself. Joseph's spirit then appears and encourages her to free herself. But soon the devil returns to torment her, and Ursula instructs her to follow the path of truth, if not for herself, then for her daughter. Grace says that she now sees the truth in that, and asks her to reveal how many others were sent to the scaffold or burned alive by her actions. She asks if those people were convinced that they were witches in the same way their accusers persuaded them. When something is repeated many times, it comes to be believed. What is not desired or cannot be accepted is that she was no more a witch then than she is now. Later, Advin brings her food, but she finds a note informing that Abby is safe. At that moment, she realizes that Leonora was also taken to prison. The next day, they tie her again to John's machine, and he asks if she confesses, but she still remains silent. He then shows her one of his instruments and says that it is the most efficient, intended to cause extreme pain. It must be inserted completely, and then the crank must be turned repeatedly until the suffering becomes unbearable. He asks her not to force him to do that and insists that she confess, but she replies that he may tear her flesh and break her bones, but she will not bear false witness before him or anyone else. She knows the truth and will endure all torments to preserve it. John orders that she be laid down again and asks Ursula to proceed, stating that it is not divine work. He approaches Grace and begs her to confess, saying it is her last chance, but she remains silent. Ursula then inserts the instrument into her body, making her scream in pain, and after some time it is seen that she bleeds heavily. John declares that he did everything within his reach to purify her soul from evil, but without success. Thus he condemns her to death for the grave crime of maleficem. Squire says that he promised a confession, to which he replies that it is implicit. Squire accuses them of fraud, and John states that she is in league with the devil and that she will burn for it, as will her daughter. Meanwhile, Kate argues with Morton for him to support Squire, but he becomes enraged and throws her out of the cart. She gets up and asks if that is all, which makes him even more furious, leading him to assault her while saying that he will teach her an unforgettable lesson. He tries to strangle her, but she strikes his eyes, making him retreat, and then she grabs a stone and hits the horse, making it bolt and crush Morton's head under the cartwheel. Later that night, Grace tells Advin that she received his message, but now she needs more than hope, and asks him to say what will be done with the old man's body. He believes it will be thrown into the pit the next morning, to which she replies that she planned to escape with Abby that night, and asks if he will help her. Then she sends a message to John saying that she wants to speak with him, and he orders that she be brought to him. When they take her to John, Advin collects the old man's blood in a flask. At that moment, Grace tells John that she will give him what he wants, but under one condition. Turning, she shows relief upon seeing Abby with him and asks that she be handed over. Meanwhile, Advin mixes the blood into John's wine. He then asks Grace, being a witch, how she foresees her daughter's fate, to which she replies that she will die the next day at her side by her own hand. He asks if she came to bargain for her life, and she says that her life is all she wants, if he still wants her confession. He says that she will live, but imposes his own condition, that Abby be raised by Ursula as a servant of God, so that she does not follow in her mother's footsteps. Then he allows her to say goodbye, and Advin enters the room with the wine for John. Ursula then says that it is time, takes Abby from her arms, and takes her away. Now he says it is time to celebrate the agreement, and proposes a toast. He offers the wine to her, but she refuses, saying she never had the disposition for it, to which he replies that then he should not drink alone. Faced with that, she takes the glass and says it no longer makes a difference. He says he can feel the hatred burning inside her and asks her to abandon it. Both drink the wine, and he asks what she wishes to say. Grace kneels and says that she wants to confess that she is not a witch, and then attacks him, pinning his hand to the table with his own instrument. He asks what that means, and she replies that it is a reckoning, revealing that she is the daughter of Jane Hawthorne, whom he burned alive when she was 7 years old. She says that for years she believed that he was the devil himself, but now realizes that he is nothing more than an ordinary man. John declares that if she seeks repentance, she will not obtain it, and that he will continue his mission as long as evil exists on earth, adding that he remembers her mother. Grace replies that she was innocent and sacrificed her own life to protect her daughter, and then reveals that the wine is contaminated with a plague. He argues that she also drank, to which she replies that she will die the next day, but wanted him to know it from the woman who defeated him. Meanwhile, Edwin goes to Squire's chamber to get Abby, and when Squire wakes up, he knocks him down. At that moment, Ursula suddenly attacks Grace and tries to kill her, but Grace manages to knock her down with a kick, causing her dress to catch fire, and Ursula jumps out the window to escape, but ends up dying. A guard appears and points his weapon at Grace, but Adwin strikes him from behind with a sword and says that Abby is with him. Before leaving, she hands the weapon to John, telling him to free himself. After they escape, the castle begins to catch fire, and Squire orders a guard to sound the alarm. Outside, Grace stops and tells Edwin that she cannot go with him. She closes the gate and says that she drank the wine, therefore she cannot risk either her life or his. Edwin reveals that the wine was not poisoned, because when he left with it, Squire took his mug. They try to open the gate, but cannot, so she asks him to find Kate and report everything that happened. Then she goes back inside and frees other prisoners, but Squire captures Astrid and shoots her, telling Grace that he will kill everyone she loves until he finds her daughter. He tries to attack her to kill her, but she manages to strike him with a broken chair and tells Leonara to go, because she is not finished yet. Soon after, she takes his sword, advances, and decapitates his head. Meanwhile, John manages to free one of his hands and tries to shoot himself with the weapon, but realizes it is unloaded. At that moment, Joseph's spirit appears and asks Grace to get up, saying that she needs to live because Abby is outside and needs her. The next morning, Edwin finds Kate, who is surprised to see Abby with him. She asks where Grace is, and he replies that he was sent by her to find her, stating that she would know what to do. Kate says she understands and that they need to leave that place. It is estimated that up to 500,000 women were tried for the crime of witchcraft in Europe and North America, and all had a horrible fate. The last woman executed in Great Britain was Janet Horne, who was humiliated, covered with tar, and burned alive in 1727. Then it is seen that finally, Grace also managed to escape from that place, the only known one who achieved freedom.